Okay. Had a bit of a revelation this morning. Been doing a lot of thinking with the recent changes going on in my life. It is the afternoon now of Wednesday, January 23rd, 2018, in the latter half of the lunar cycle coulee, the fourth winter moon, when people need assistance to survive the winter starvation. And it's, we're getting a shot of winter. It's actually pretty cold out here. My fingers are freezing. I'm gonna have to switch hands on the camera every couple of minutes. The camera itself might not last. And we're getting some snow. And I've come to bring Oohkotok back out here to the coulee to let him sit out here for a while. I had him over at the apartment where I'm staying with Chelsea, and I think that's not a good idea to have him right there. Well, not for a long period of time anyway. After I started thinking about things this morning, I recognized that Oohkotok is not just, a funny heavy rock. Or a fucking heavy rock, I should say, because that's originally what I had in mind when I picked him up. I'd been listening to a lot of David Goggins motivational talks, and this is David Goggins is like a super athlete slash Navy SEAL, and but he's a guy that could have went either way in his life. He could have been a nothing, and out of shape and sad guy, but he chose to do something otherwise with his life, made a choice and started testing himself with adversity. And so when I came across Oohkotok, that was the night of December 13th, and I was out on a night walk out here in the coulee, and I'd been coming up the muff right below me here where I found him, and I felt him just calling to me, just pick me up, bring me up to that high point over here. Made me climb the steepest part of the hill. I threw him in my backpack and went up and sat him up on the top of the hill, and no sooner did I sit him down and start walking away than I felt like he was calling me a pussy for for using the backpack in the first place instead of just carrying him with my hands. So, when I was in the military, they had these things called FHR that you could put in your pack. And it's basically Oohkotok is a fucking heavy rock, FHR. And so that's what I kind of saw Oohkotok as. He's like a 33 to 34 pound FHR. And I also kind of saw in him a link to a Napi theme. Napi is kind of the Blackfoot trickster, and he had a pretty significant run-in with a rock, a glacial erratic, but that involved giving something and taking it back. And I remember Frank Weaselhead, the late Frank Weaselhead, visiting Oohkotok, the Napi's rock, and talking about marriage and infidelities as a form of giving and taking back, and he upset the rock and the rock was rolling after him. So I had kind of Napi-ish theme in mind, not necessarily linked to that in particular, to the marriage, but just in relation to the trickster nature. There have been people who have made many comparisons in the past of me to a modern day Napi. And some of those comparisons, they're not inaccurate, but I didn't really appreciate what Oohkotok was, or it has been, or might be, because this morning I realized Oohkotok's appearance coincides with, my making steps that he can't step back from cleanly, in terms of my relationships. And so I feel like he's just what he is, which is he's a heavy weight on my back. He's a heavy weight on my back. There's a lot of weight to this whole thing. Not just guilt weight, but all kinds of different forms of weight. And Oohkotok is that. And he has played a role, you know, all along in what's been going on. I don't know that I should go into too many details about all of that, but there was a night when I brought Oohkotok home with me, and for the first time, and that was a night that really ended up being a revelation, you know, to let Mahoney know that something was wrong. And then I brought Oohkotok back out to the coulees after that, and not too many days later I returned out here with Chelsea, and I packed Oohkotok up with me, brought him for a hike through the coulees, and back up to the apartment, where I've kept that weight ever since. And I've had some dark days these last, you know, few days since having him there. And so I really just think it's better that he be out here, you know, at a little bit of a distance from me. So I've decided today to bring him out here. But it changes my relationship with Oohkotok, having that kind of insight or revelation that you know, that he's more than just a rock and more than just an exercise tool. He's a signal. And when I look at a lot of the things that I've been putting out over the past few months, there's a lot of very encrypted symbolic messages in things that I've been posting on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, where, you know, although I've got a secret, hey, that's part of the weight on my back was the secret. Now that secret's not there, but I'm feeling other forms of the weight, and I don't necessarily want to carry those forms constantly where I'm sleeping and stuff, because it's been dark, you know, it's been dark, and I need a lift, I need a mood change. So in the midst of this storm, you know, despite this storm, I've decided to bring him out here. I'm going to deposit him right here for at least, I don't know, the next few nights. It's not like I'm going to quit dealing with Oohkotok, but I do need to sit and think about how I want to deal with him. You know, how I want to engage with this weight, how and when, and make sure that I do it in ways that are constructive and not doing any more damage than I've already done. I don't know. But yeah, I just thought I would quickly share that bit of a revelation. I didn't tell you all the details, but there's more to it, like how Oohkotok has played into there's been correspondence between how I've presented Oohkotok to the public and what was going on personally behind the scenes, and I didn't even recognize it, you know, until this morning, thinking about things. I'm hoping tomorrow to get back out here, so the owl that I want to monitor is out this way, and I'd like to just poke around, but it's kind of late today. I've been having some allergy problems, along with dealing with the stress and anxiety and all of that, and the darkness of what's going on with being, you know, separated from the people who I consider family, and being like basically demonized by them. Along with that, I've had allergy issues, and so I've been sticking around inside, puffy eyes and snotty nose, but it feels good to get out here. Good but cold. My fingers are freezing. I didn't bring gloves. So I'll just leave it at that. Something to think about. And you know, to me, it's a reminder that a lot of the things that I do may be unconscious and highly symbolic, and I tend to overlook them and make them look, you know, to appear to the public as just a weird idiosyncrasy, but they're actually signals telling people about how I'm feeling inside a lot of times, I think, at least with Oohkotok.